All right. How are you, Srili?
Baruch Hashem, how are you, Rebbe?
Chasdei Hashem. Chasdei Hashem. Well, thank you. Okay, everybody, say Perek Shlishi, Shar Cheshbon HaNefesh, Perek Shlishi, which as we know, he's going to say this is really talking about working in a butcher shop, the meat and potatoes of Shar Cheshbon HaNefesh. All right, it's going to be 30 Cheshbone. How do you say it? Cheshbone HaNefesh. Something like that. And again, the Rabbi says that we've already pointed out Cheshbon HaNefesh Shemachavin Elav Rabbeinu. This is just so we have our focus right. The Cheshbon HaNefesh that the Chovos haLevavos is referring to, who inyan cheshbonos u'machshavos, it's cheshbonos and thoughts shemachayvin es ha'adam that obligate you and motivate you l'asos avodas Hashem. We're not talking about what we usually refer as Cheshbon HaNefesh. Where am I holding in avodas Hashem? Rather, over here, Cheshbon HaNefesh means ideas, concepts, things that motivate us, that are mechayev us to do avodas Hashem. Okay?
Yeah.
So he says like this: Ala sheila afonim, bekama afonim. Ala odem lasis la'atzmei Cheshbon HaNefesh k'dei ladas as Chovos of klapei Elokim Yisbarach. Here he says it pretty clearly. How many different ways are there on this question? How many ways are there a person needs to do in order to know his Chovos klapei Elokim Yisbarach? This is my response. There's really multitudes. We can't list them all. However, I will explain 30 of them. From these 30 things, a person will understand his obligations to Hashem. If he takes them to heart. You could read this whole shar and just turn the page to the next shar. Something you have to work on. You have to take it to heart. You had to take it to heart. To accept upon yourself, to give them thought. So the more you invest in this shar and what we're going to learn, then the more it's going to, it's true about everything. Okay. These are they. So Rav Matziohi points out, we've already learned the Shower of Akina. And there he already wrote all kind of aspects of Hashem's goodness to us, His greatness, His wisdom. I just recently picked up a book. I didn't get to read because Rabbi Berry ran away with it. It's a book based on the Shower of Akina, Rav Miller's Shower of Akina, but it looks like a science book. I don't even remember what it's called. He came into my house. I bought it for the yeshiva. You know what I do? I go to this farm store. I buy all the stuff I want to learn and read for the yeshiva with yeshiva's money, and eventually it gets to the yeshiva after I'm done. In any case, this one I don't know if I'll ever get to the yeshiva because we're very together. Okay. In any case, so that was the Shower of Akina. A taste of the tremendous wisdom in the Bria and how our benefits and His greatness. That the Chovos haLevavos had written on giving thought, delving into these things. It'll bring you to do Ritzayin Hashem and b'simcha. That's the best. We want to do b'simcha. We don't want to do it because we got to. That's like a child does it. All right, there's a big, scary man with a big gun behind us. So we have to do. No, we want to do it b'simcha. Our choice. And appreciating the good Hashem Yisbarach all that He does to us. For cheshbonos harishonos, he says the first few cheshbonos here of the 30, they're really from the stuff we learned in the Shower of Akina in short. So in a way, and he doesn't say how many of the next ones, but the first few he says will be somewhat of a refresher course on Shower of Akina. A person should look into, what's Hishtal Shaluso mean? In himself. On top it says Binyan Atzmai. To look into himself. I guess how he develops, how he ticks. And give a look on how you were formed, how you were created. Where did you come from? How you came from nothing to the Metzias. It's basically, our coming into being as a yesh is me'ayin yesh, right? It's from nothing. It's like similar to the original bria. There's nothing, right? And that develops a little sperm, a little seed, develops into an amazing machine, an amazing person. So a person has to give thought to that. He came from not to yes to being. There was nothing before that was mischayiv that this should happen, this should be. There's no cause and effect, so to speak, originally. It's out of Hashem's chesed, tuvai unedivasai, his givingness, his goodness. The person understands that his situation is greater. His makeup is better more than the inanimate stuff in the world, the tzarmeach, the vegetation, the animal life. So you take a look at who you are and what you are, and you look back at who says I should be, where did I come from, and you realize it's all out of chesed of Hashem. Nothing that Hashem had predated, so to speak, and said Hashem, that was mechayiv Hashem to do it. So out of total Hashem's chesed, when you give thought to that, you're going on your own. Obligate yourself to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu for your being, for what He made you. You're in a seichel, a machine that takes care of itself totally, breathing and food and eating and developing and growing, fixing itself. Says you could use a moshel to help you understand your obligation in this situation. He says, picture. Let's say these things have happened. A mother gives birth and throws the baby into the street. Leaves it. A passerby sees the baby in the street, abandoned, and had Rachmanis brought him into the house with Tipa, basically adopted him, raised him until he's an adult. Took him in from nothing. Says it's a given. Again, we're only talking people with midas, people who are mature. Right? Someone could say, "Who cares? Who cares? So what? He did it. He did it for himself. I don't know." Right? No, but obviously, it's such an obligation to do whatever the person wants you to do, whatever he asks you for. I mean, it's the most basic. Everything. He took you off the street. You would have died in the street. You were abandoned, found you in a garbage can. You always read these stories, at least in America. Right? They abandoned the babies in the garbage can. They took you out of a garbage can. He raised you. He gave you a life. Right? Everything, clothing, food, education. Anything he asks you, you should jump to do. Whatever he tells you to do, you're going to do. You're not going to say, why do I have to do it? Who said? and you won't do anything he tells you not to do. How many obligations you have to this person? After you've taken in this concept, this moshel, to give thought how much more Hashem watches over you, and gives you everything you need from when you became into being. Because, it's really not even that person, let's say, even in that case, right? That person only is able to do everything because of the Rebbeinu Shalom, and only because the Rebbeinu Shalom gives him. Ubehetem lekach, and based on that, according to that, yidresh me'atzmai, so you'll demand from yourself the Moshe Chachavei. Hashem revealed to us what he wants from us and what his rotzin is. And a person who appreciates how Hashem took him from zero and brought him to here, right? It'll be pasha to him. He'll demand from himself to do Hashem's avodah, the kabbalas atzmos, and to accept upon himself that whatever Hashem asks him to do, commands him to do, he's going to do. Moshe Rabbeinu already rebuked Klal Yisrael in this way. It says in the Devarim, Hashem tigmu zois. Is this how you repay back Hashem? Am novel, v'loich kocham. Not a wise nation. He's the father that made you, who oscha v'choineneka, right? You owe him everything. It's an expression of a lack of wisdom. People, at least I like to think I'm smart. I like to think I'm a good person, right? It's a lack of chokhmah, of basic chokhmah. If you don't feel that way, you feel, no, I don't know the person. Right? He's saying it's such a given. Yechezkel Navi rebuked Klal Yisrael also in this vein. He says, as you see in that parak, let's take a look at Ramat Tzisyo. This is the Oif and Aleph. Let's see what he says over here. He brings over here this that the haLevavos said, that person looks and sees that he came from nothing. Hashem has built no need for you. It's like we say every day. Appreciate what we say. Hashem is the master of the world, that he ruled b'terem kol yitzir nivra, before there was anything created. Whatever that means. Heard this a few times from Moshe Shapiro, like in our world, you can only, ein melech b'lo yam. It's even a halacha. Right? There's no king if there's no nation. You're not a king if you don't have people. And the question is, how could you say he was molach b'terem kol yitzir nivra? How could he be a king before anything was? And how could he be a king? And then you say, after everything's over, he's okay. So we don't understand. That's things before and after. We can't comprehend what that means. But we say it, right? In other words, even though in this world we say the king needs the people, he's not a king. So what we're stating there is that Hashem doesn't need us at all, even to be a king. That's what he's saying, right? That's what Ramat Tzisyo was pointing out. That he doesn't need us at all. He's a king in Hashem ways. I don't know what that means, but again, that's what we state. He was a king before, so he doesn't need us even to be a king, which is, in this world, is the only way you could be a king. You can't sit in your house and put on a crown and declare yourself king, you may be in the number 16 and you have no subjects. The next thing they do is they take you to Har Nof over there, where you have something show, where they lock you up. You'll see in a few months, whatever. Okay, but part of what we're expressing, he's saying, when we say in the morning, Hashem molach b'terem kol yitzir nivra, and then v'achrei k'chois hakol v'vada yimlech noira, is deepening in us the understanding He mamish doesn't need us. Even to be a melech, he doesn't need us. And he went and he made us. Now, because of his desire, his wants, his chayfetz, he made us. As I melech shmei nikra. Hainu b'shvilenu. In other words, for us, he did it. It was a chesed from Hashem to create us. He doesn't need us. He was a melech before. He's a melech after. Can't say no. A melech needs a people. No, Hashem didn't need us. So he made it just for us. Nimsa shabrias adam yirakle teras adam. Mashukosa masiros yishorim. Shabrias adam ha yirakle hated in mabrias. Right, the famous in the first parak, the foundation of the Masiros Yishorim, that the creation of Adam was to do good with the brias, not that Hashem gets something back. What our Chazal have taught us. Such a, aleph base of everything. The person was only created to have pleasure from Hashem. And to enjoy from his Ziv Shechina. That is the true enjoyment. The greatest pleasure. Greater than anything could be is that, call it Kirvas Hashem, that's being attached to the whole energy, the whole existence, the whole feeling of pure existence is the greatest pleasure. We all look to find, some people do dangerous things, right? They need those highs to feel that they exist. They'll climb crazy mountains, they'll jump off river, I don't know, all kind of crazy stuff they do. Even going on a roller coaster, it might be safe, but the thrill, it gives you a sense of being, of existing, and it's all face, it's all high, false, it's all highs. The true thing is when you're close to the source of existence, the source of life, you're attached to it. You're inherently, and that's how I understand what it means to Mesilas Yesharim when he says that Yenenem Ziv Shechinasai. Says Mesilas Yesharim, he continues. Where do you get that pleasure? Where could you do that? It's not in this world, it's in the next world. Because Olam Haba was created as vacation land. It was created as the place where you could do that. This world, we get a taste of it. We have Me'ein Olam Haba, Vekas and Hashem, but the world in itself is disconnect from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. At least the way it looks like. Right? Hashem says, Elam, it's hidden. And so the world where you could have that tainug is only in Olam Haba. So the Mesilas Yesharim is telling us, that's what Mesilas is quoting, that's exactly what he says here, that Hashem didn't do it for himself. He doesn't need it for himself. He did it to give us the greatest pleasure possible. However, continues in that pleasure, there's the downside that it's what Chazal called Nama de Kisufa, free handouts. If it's free handouts, it's embarrassing. Nobody enjoys to take handouts. Mora says, Adam writes of a person prefers to have what he earned, what he worked for, more than 9 times of what someone else would give him free. There's a certain pleasure in it that it's me, that I worked for it, that it's mine. I owned it, I did it. Someone gives it to you, easy come, easy go, it's not you. So it could be, you have a lot of money, but if you don't work for it, there's a certain embarrassment. If we would get it right away, Hashem could have created the world straight or lamava. Create people, give them tainug. Who needs this the way before? Who needs the poster to the ulam, right? Put me into the ulam. Give me an invitation, I go into the wedding. I get the invitation, I go to the wedding, I get everything great. But it's a freebie. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu understands freebies are inherently flawed. It inherently flaws the pleasure. So then Hashem had to create another world. He had to create a second world. As the Messiah Shalom, he says, continues, how do we get to that ultimate inherent pleasure? It's this world. Hashem created this world where, at least it looks like we're working and getting our kav shalom, We're working, we're earning it. That's why it's not easy, because you have to earn it. It really works, right? We don't work, but it really works, right? It's hard. But if you want the paycheck, then you work. This whole world is just a whole. It's not a place. It's just a means to get to somewhere else. And the means that bring us, this is all the Messiah Shisharim, that bring us to this result, to this tachlis, Mitzvos, that the mitzvahs Hashem commanded us to do. The factory, where's the playing field? The Zolam Hazeh. Because I'll tell us, the other way it doesn't work also. Once you're in the next world, that's it. You can't do anything anymore. There you can only enjoy. Florida, you go down, you sit on the bench and you bask in the glory of Hashem. No more work. Except there you vegetate and there you grow. All right? But in this world, it's a factory. You work. Okay, and who's some other Maza'ilim, but Tila, therefore, a person, this is Messiah Hashem continues, was put in this world first, using these means, that come his way in this world, to reach the place that was prepared for him, to be satiated with good, that he acquired for himself, that he worked for, through these means, etc. He says, you're placed, you're existing be'emes in the biggest battle. Sometimes a guy says, it's so hard. It's supposed to be hard. You got a big job. You were granted a very big responsibility. And with responsibility comes a lot of work. And it's a mechoma hachazaka, because everything in this world, being that this world, when the master planner said, I'm creating Olam Hazeh, he said, okay, what's the purpose? First you have to know, what's the purpose? Before you plan, before the architect writes the plans, he has to decide, what am I building? What's the purpose for it? He's not going to build a luxury hall if it's supposed to be a factory to make cars. So he has to prepare, he has to know what he's making it for. He's making it for why? So the first line is, as a place where people could earn schar. That's what this world was created for. Okay, number two is, how do I do that? Well, I create all kind of obstacles, all kind of challenges. And based on that, he creates the world. Because if there's no challenges, you're not earning any. If it's smooth going, you're not earning any. And the whole purpose is you should come home with a paycheck. I don't give you a job. You don't get paid. So Hashem made the world, it's a job. And the Yetzer Hara tricks us into thinking it's supposed to be easy. Why is it so hard? Why do I have to work hard? Why do I have to put in extra hours? Why can't I take it easy? 9-to-5 job, then come home and do nothing. Why? Why do I have to do that? And the reason is that's the Yetzer Hara trying to fool you and blind you into what this world is. It's like someone had a job and he comes to the job. Instead of doing the job, he says, okay, look, it's all working. It looks like everyone's fine. I'll sit on the bench, and I'll take it easy. But at the end, the boss says, you didn't do the work. You're not getting paid. Right? So you fooled yourself, but too late. Ukfi. Excuse me. Not kedai to skip words in Messiah Shalom. Kikol Yonam Bein L'Toy Bein L'Mutav. He says everything in this world, whether it's the good, whether it's the mutav, means the not good, he named Nisyonis La'od. Even the good is a challenge. How do you deal with it? What do you do with it? You got money. What do you do with the money? How do you spend it? I read a book about Moshe Reichman. They wrote a book about him. He was this. It's kedai reading to see how a person could be a real zavulun. How he had so much money and Tov's focus was on Torah. It's an incredible thing, that he's always just thinking. So what could I do? Rav Grunotsky must have remembers this a few years back. He took on the total debt of the yeshiva world in Eretz Yisrael. It was Motzei Yom Kippur. He said, how could I sit when the yeshivas are struggling? And he set up a whole committee under Rav Shach. All the menalim, all the yeshivas were invited to bring in their books, their debts, what they owe. He himself put forward $80 million for it, and I think he got a few other people pitching another $20 million to pay all the debts of the whole yeshiva world. That's what he was thinking about. I remember I was in Kollel then. I left already. No, it was before I came to David. But he paid all of it because that was his focus, all about Torah. So that's when you have good. What do you do? And when it's challenges, we understand more. When you're poor, it's a challenge. When you're rich, it's a challenge. Etc. When you're at peace and serenity, it's a challenge. And when you have Yisurim, to the point that wherever you turn, there's no being saved from this battle. And again, the reason is because you're on the battlefield. There'll be a time after the battlefield, but here it's the battlefield. So of course you're going to be in a battle. If you're not in a battle, then you're not in the right place. It's a hard concept to live with day in and day out, minute by minute. Says Mr. Sam, if you'll be a true warrior, and you'll win the war. We call it starting from all the sides. That will make you into the perfect person. It's a building process. It makes you Adam Hashem Yiske, that such a person can merit be close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he'll leave the hall. He'll come out to the big hall, the Or Barachayim, to be in that life of that light of life. On the mount that you overcame your yetzer and your desires and you distance yourself from those things that keep you from the good. And you did your best. You worked to be close to the good. That's how much you can in fact earn. Wow, where is Ron? Just I said yesterday, 2 days ago, he said to me, but Rebbe, what about the suffering in the world? You're saying that you have to thank Hashem for all the good. What about the suffering? He's saying everything. The richness, the poorness, the suffering, the being healthy. That's what Rashi says. It comes out that everything is good because all of it are means for the end. And it's only means. Our problem is that we look at it as an end, and that's why it's so hard. It's all Chesed Hashem. His goodness and his generosity. That's what the Chovos haLevavos means. And I guess we'll end on that. All right, we'll pick up Mitzvah Hashem Sunday, Be'ezus Hashem. Have a good Shabbos, everybody. Surely good Shabbos.
Have a good Shabbos.
Kol Tov, good to see you.
Likewise. Have a good Shabbos, Rabbi G.
You're muted, Rabbi G. I think. We're not hearing you. But